I think that's a good first step. If we can, get that done, I think that'll be great to before we go to even more details.
Okay, let me share my screen, and I can also capture those two links in our meeting notes in case anyone is interested to look into those two articles. Hey, Victor, do you have anything else you want to share about these two links? I think we
Um,
can prioritize this if you want to have
yeah,
some
yeah.
discussions.
If you have no other urgent topic, yeah. So you can see that Sigstore is being used to sign models, which is quite a important use case. So I guess I know Notary is not the same as Sigstore because Sigstore Notary is much more how to say kind of enterprise-ish type of a use case. Do you think Notary there'll be any use case using Notary for signing models?
I think that's the scenario where we need to investigate more and also think about our strategy. But as the notation blob signing feature is landed, I think there's a possibility that notation will be able to sign the AI or machine learning language models. But that's a prospective direction that we can take a look. Hey, Sajay?
Yeah, the current models, like there are examples of pretty much OCR artifacts, and there's notation should be able to sign those without, I mean, as the default use case. I don't think there is a extra step unless you want to sign just the model blob by itself. Is that where that the challenge?
Oh no, no. I think the not challenge is more for my own because it's for my own education in a way. So Sigstore is for open source because Sigstore is kind of a internet a kind of website where you can use it to sign pretty easily, right? So there's no coordination needed. My understanding of Notary is it's more feature rich, but on the other hand, it takes time to implement Notary, most likely within the enterprise environment, right? So the use case I can think of is the model signed using Sigstore versus model signed in with Notary. Probably need to understand the whole workflow, different use cases, details, and trust model differences. This way, the model signed by Notary and model signed by Sigstore, how do we use them and how do them work together? I guess that's my question.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. I think I think given that there are slightly different implementation, slightly different uh, sets of trust models here, the signature itself, by virtue of what kind of attestations it might provide, might be the difference here, is what I'm guessing. Like other extra attestations that Sigstore adds as a part of the workflow that maybe Notary is missing, or but that should not be the biggest issue. Either way, I think I see the point, which is just to understand how they might be implemented, and is one costlier than the other, is I think what you're trying to understand. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So the idea is, in the past, I mean, even just let's go back to the original, notary versus six door without the model thing. The original use case is, one, again, this is my understanding. One is for public. Notary was also initially built for open source, but six door being lightweight, it has its advantage. But I know there's things that Notary can do more than six door, right? So even just for software, how to make the internal workflow, the signing, kind of seamlessly integrated is the public open source signing process, taking the advantage of the particular features of the notary versus six door. I don't think that's clear. And that's why, yeah, I think even for that, it's still useful if it's documented somehow. And then maybe put it like in a story and put it in a CKS exam. That's one original reason I come here. And later on, when I start about it, there are more. Right? You could, because with model, now going forward, there will be data, right? So on data, there's a different thing. There's data signing, like using like blockchain to make sure the data is authentic, created by human. But still, when you put all those metadata together, the data metadata, data about the metadata, metadata about data sets, and the model, the software, all those, if you want to verify it, you want to create a provenance, you all need all kinds of signing and provenance. So how do they work together, right? And what is the detailed workflow, and what is a detailed trust model, right? That's a blur to me, at least at this point.
Yeah, this topic actually goes into things like the AI bomb working group, as well as to what is the bill of material for the model itself that it was used to produce, and things like that as well, and not just the attestations themselves. So I think it's kind of early, but possibly doable. Either way.
Well, you're the right keyword. I'm involved in the bomb
Oh,
the
okay,
community.
cool,
SSD
cool, cool, cool.
community. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So we're looking at it from, like, I know there's a bunch of people working on trying to identify what's the actual elements of what the AI bomb looks like, right? And maybe we want to hoist those attestations as a separate artifact. I think the point is, even if you have the AI bomb, you want to be able to sign the AI bomb also. So the point of notary is not, I mean, notation specifically is not just to sign the model itself, but even associated artifacts with the model that might come. But anyway, probably taking too much time right now on the call. Feynman, this is probably something we can follow up once Toddy is there, because and we have some folks who we can at least get a sense of how can we articulate the workflow for this one. This is cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a prospective scenario, as I know most of the KubeCon topics, just the KubeCon happened in London last week. Most of the topics are talking about AI and machine learning artifacts. This can be a new scenario for notation to think about. Again, Victor, thanks for bringing this up. In terms of the trust model, I think Notary Project currently does only have the threat model documentation, and we still lack of the trust model, right? Shui, do you have any insights on the trust model? I remember you brought this up last time.
I'm still reading this.
Oh, you mean this OpenSSF blog post?
Yeah, yes. So can I just pass this question?
Yeah. We can reserve some time for finishing the reading of this blog post.
Actually, just including another link. I know it's a little sparse, not directly related, but since we're trying to understand trust model, I'll let you know where that come from. It actually come from another similar idea of zero trust. This article goes into zero trust, basically claiming it's kind of very hard to implement that zero trust model. That's why the other article I included about trust model is where it's necessary to fully understand the trust model to be able to extend the current, not only just for threat modeling, but also for the actual, software model and data provenance in more detail.
Is there any specific point that you want to highlight from your third link?
If you search the paper, the main idea is a lot of the devices used in the enterprise are black box. So it's impossible to, just use the zero trust model to fully safeguard the enterprise network overall.
It's a mix of what you say is attestations through trusting parties versus things like reproducible bills and actually being able to trust the entire supply chain, right? I think we're a little far away from being able to trust the entire supply chain per se. That's kind of what I get the sense of. I might be wrong, but like when we provide an attestation, it's also considered legally obligatory to make sure that the attestations are true in some way. But provided you can prove that the attestations have been made by the person or the persons claiming to make the attestations as well, right? So I think that's one of the reasons I feel like notation and has kind of stuck with the PKI model because it's an established model and there's tools to do it across the industry as well as in different air gap environments and whatnot. These are something that's possibly well-established pattern. So
Yeah, I know that's why I didn't bring up this article initially because I think it is out of scope for our discussion here. I just want to show you that that this is actually a problem,
yeah,
wider problem, not hard to tackle problem. So just limit to the topic to notary. Yeah, that's why we need to probably establish a trust model, understand the trust model in more detail, but doesn't have to go all the way to zero trust. That's the yeah, basically the scope.
Okay, as we still have another 3 topics for today's meeting, so I would suggest that we can keep those 3 links in our meeting notes and reserve some time for people to read it offline. I just captured those 3 links in our meeting notes so that we can continue to read and investigate further after this meeting. Thank you, Victor. Back to our agenda items. There are 3 topics that I have collected from our community. One is to collect our preference on the meeting schedule, community meeting schedule change. I set up the poll for our community meetings, and there are 2 polls for 2 series of community meetings. One is for APAC friendly, another one is for US friendly. And the overall idea is to changing the community cadence and also provide 2 meeting series for people in different time zones. So far, I got thumbs up from Vani and Toddy. So for other maintainers, please help to share your opinion in this issue, especially for the proposal of changing the meeting cadence, because we have this issue to track the meeting cadence change and another 2 polls for meeting schedule confirmation. So currently for APAC friendly meeting poll, I think the result is very straightforward. We're gonna pick this time slot for APAC friendly meeting series. However, for US friendly meeting poll, we are still hard to align on the schedule because, as you can see, there are 4 votes picked 4 different time slots. So I'm kind of hard to make the decision on the schedule. But I think I still want to hear some thoughts from our regular meeting attendees, especially for Josh and Victor. What's your preference for the meeting schedule? I cannot see who votes for each option, so just a small survey for Josh and Victor, as you are in US time zone.
I'm not sure, Josh. I'm a visitor here, so I'm not a frequent attendee. So don't worry about me.
Okay, thanks for answer.
I think for us, after the afternoon time slots are probably better. So either 2 to 3 or 3 to 4.
I
We tend
mean,
to have a lot more meetings in the mornings.
so your preference is to go with 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific time, right?
That's fine. 3 to 4 p.m. Pacific would be also fine. Either one of those.
Okay. How about now? I mean, the original schedule, 5 to 6, is that a bit late for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of late for Pacific time, and I know that for our folks that we have on the East Coast, it's much later than that. So
Okay, I hear your voice. Have you ever voted with your preference in this poll?
no, I've had it open. I haven't gotten around to it.
No worries. I think I can share the link in our chat so you can vote. Thanks, Josh. I will give a few more days for people, especially people in US time zone, to finalize the meeting poll so we can make the decision on this meeting series. Okay, back to our agenda. The second topic is from a user. Although the user is not in this meeting, but he raised a pull request to notation CLI. So I want to bring this up and talk with our maintainers to see whether we want to prioritize a security patch for notation CLI. This user is actually a new contributor to notation who raised a pull request to update the Golang JWT dependency. I'm not sure whether Shui or Patrick, did you get a chance to review this pull request and whether this dependency bump up is valid to notation?
Junke, I think we had a similar one in the notation Kogo, right?
Yes, we have bumped up the main branch. This is for the 1.3 release branch. This is a notation CLI repo. This PR is for release 1.3 branch. For main branch, we have bumped up the Golang JWT. Yeah, this PR is useful. We can accept it.
Okay. Looks like this user is requesting a new security patch 1.3.2 after this pull request is merged. So what's your opinion for having another patch release? I believe 1.3 is still in our maintenance loop, right? So
Yes, we can schedule one. Yeah, we can discuss for the patch release date.
okay. So I think we can review this pull request offline and discuss the potential ETA for a security patch. Looks like this user is using notation in production, and he's pending on the patch release. Okay, let's continue. Third topic is a continued discussion from our last week, which is to identify the change of the signature spec. I proposed a change to add artifact type to Notary project signature last week, and we had the first round of review in our meeting. It is interesting that there's a user who reported his test summary based on Google Artifact Registry, and we can take a look at his test summary because this issue was not fully answered last time, and we thought that might be the root cause might be on the OCI JR's implementation on OCI 1.1. So we can take a look at the test summary from the user. So here, the user test notation 2.0 alpha 1 with JR, and he shared a very detailed summary here. Let me post a link in our chat so folks can read in the meeting. Just pasted the link, and let's have 2 minutes for reading this summary. I think it's a very nice summary. Okay, folks, have you finished the reading on this test summary? Maybe you can just give an emoji if you feel you are good, or you still prefer some time for reading. I can also give a short summary on his test result. So basically, the user helped us identify the root cause of why notation 2.0 does not work with Google Artifact Registry. There are three implementation bugs on GAR. The first is that GAR does not fall back to use config media type for artifact type. The user has filed a bug on Google issue tracker. Yeah, I saw such a comment. As you can see from his summary, he filed 3 different incidents to GAR, and I think those are tracked on Google side. And so far, I don't think we have any substantial work items to fix this issue, because those are the problems on the server side. Initially, this user hoped that by introducing artifact type field, they can fix this issue without waiting for Google to fix those 3 bugs in Google Artifact Registry, but it may not be as his expectation. The second issue is that JR returns an incorrect value for the header. The third problem is that JR returns an incorrect manifest size. For the third issue, I think we also received a user issue in Aura CLI project. So I think that's the almost the same issue from JR. So back to our specification change on introducing the artifact type to signature spec. My question is that as we are considering forward compatibility for notation, especially when we introducing a new field artifact type to the signature spec, right? So in that case, should we consider a new release with 1.4 in notation, especially to let notation 1.4 to be able to verify and inspect the signatures produced by notation 2.0? I think we had some discussions around forward compatibility, right? Last time. I added the spec change against the forward compatibility support. So there's a situation as notation maintains n and n-1 versions. That means when notation 2.0 is released, we are still supposed to maintain 2.0 and the last stable version, which is notation v1.3. But in that case, notation v1.3 is not able to verify the signatures produced by notation 2.0. So I'm thinking that whether we want to have another release, notation 1.4, to be able to verify the newer signatures. In my spec, I just used notation v1.x to mark at the version that we want introduce forward compatibility. Do you have any advice on our consideration for forward compatibility? Junjie and Patrick, any insights here?
Feynman, I need to review your PR first.
Okay.
I'm doing that right now.
Okay, so we can maybe reserve a few minutes for reviewing.
Feynman, I will provide my feedback offline.
Thanks.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Maybe we can move this decision-making process offline and reserve some time for people to continue review the pull requests because there's a few changes since our last discussion. And my major question is that whether we want to introduce another minor release in notation v1 because we have to consider the forward compatibility considerations for notation v1, the older release. I just paste the link in our chat, so maintainers and folks, please take a look at this pull request. We can continue the discussion and make the decision in our pull request. Okay, I think that's everything from my side. Before we end up today's meeting, just kindly check if any questions from our community folks. To wrap up, I think there are two actions here. The first one is to review the pull request from the user, a dependency bump up, and we can identify an ETA for cutting a patch release for notation v1.3. Another action is to review the second pull request, which is to introduce a new field artifact type to Notary project signature. Anything else? If not, I think we can finish today's meeting earlier and give some time back for folks to review those pull requests.
Thanks, folks.
Okay, thank you, everyone. That's everything today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.